In a small, vibrant district nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, lived two best friends, Amara and Zuri. Their friendship was the stuff of legends, a bond that seemed unbreakable, forged in childhood when they would spend endless days playing by the riverside, sharing secrets, dreams, and a promise to remain sisters for life. Amara, a beautiful, intelligent girl with a heart full of ambition, was admired by everyone in the district for her kindness and charm. Zuri, on the other hand, was the quieter of the two, sweet, humble, and always content with the little she had. However, when sudden wealth found its way to Zuri's doorstep, their friendship was put to the ultimate test. The riches Zuri inherited transformed her life overnight, stirring envy and resentment in Amara's heart. Unable to cope with her best friend's newfound status, Amara plotted to turn Zuri into a pig, believing that by stripping her of her beauty and humanity, she would restore balance to their friendship, or so she thought. Amara and Zuri's district was abuzz with the news of Zuri's sudden inheritance. Her distant uncle, a wealthy merchant she had never met, had passed away, leaving Zuri his vast estate, including land, cattle, and a chest full of gold. Life as Zuri knew it transformed overnight. From wearing simple dresses, she now adorned herself in fine clothes, and her little home was replaced by a grand mansion on the hill. The once shy and reserved Zuri suddenly found herself in the spotlight, receiving admiration and attention she never imagined. Amara, who had always been the star of the district, was now in Zuri's shadow. Though she smiled and pretended to be happy for her friend, envy slowly gnawed at her heart. She couldn't understand why fortune had favored Zuri, the quiet girl who never wanted more than a peaceful life. It should have been me, Amara thought bitterly as she watched Zuri thrive. As Zuri's wealth grew, the distance between the two friends widened. Amara no longer found joy in their time together. She resented the lavish gifts Zuri would offer her and detested the way everyone now looked at her friend with admiration. The more Zuri tried to include Amara in her new world, the more Amara felt out of place. One evening, Zuri invited Amara to a grand feast at her mansion. Amara reluctantly attended, but every smile Zuri gave, every praise she received from their neighbors, felt like a knife twisting in Amara's heart. Zuri noticed Amara's coldness and tried to bridge the gap by showering her with kindness. But Amara's pride wouldn't allow her to accept what she perceived as charity. After the feast, Zuri pulled Amara aside, her eyes filled with concern. "Amara, what's wrong? You've been so distant." "I miss my friend," she said, her voice soft and pleading. Amara forced a smile, her mind racing. "I'm fine, Zuri. Just a lot on my mind," she lied, turning away to hide the tears of anger and jealousy welling up in her eyes. She could no longer bear to see Zuri shine. That night, Amara couldn't sleep. Every thought was consumed by Zuri's new life and the emptiness she felt inside. As she stared out of her small window, a thought crept into her mind, dark, twisted, and impossible to ignore. If Zuri's wealth was the source of her misery, then Zuri must be punished. A wicked plan began to take shape, one that would change everything. Amara had always been fascinated by magic and folklore. As a child, she often visited an old herbalist named Mama Eo, who lived on the outskirts of the district. Mama Eo was known for her potions and spells, and Amara knew that if anyone could help her, it was the old woman. The next day, Amara made her way through the dense forest to Mama Eo's hut. The old woman greeted her with a knowing smile. "Oh, Amara, it has been a while. What brings you to this old place?" she asked, her eyes sharp and piercing. Amara hesitated, but the hatred boiling inside her overpowered any second thoughts. "Mama Eo, I need your help. I want a spell to turn someone into a pig," she said, her voice trembling with determination. Mama Eo raised an eyebrow. "A pig? Why would you wish such a fate upon another? Spells of transformation are dangerous, child. They often come with a price," she warned. Amora's heart pounded. I don't care about the price. I just want her gone, she insisted, her voice edged with desperation. The old woman sighed and pulled out a small, tattered book filled with ancient spells. She showed Amara a page with a spell that could transform a human into an animal. This is no simple trick. If you do this, there's no going back, Mama Eo cautioned, handing Amara a vial of dark liquid. Amara nodded, her mind made up. She clutched the vial, feeling the weight of her decision. Thank you, Mama Eo. I'll pay whatever price, she said, unaware of how steep the cost would truly be. Amara returned home and carefully prepared for her plan. The spell required her to mix the potion with something that belonged to Zuri, a lock of hair would do. Amara knew Zuri's routines well and planned to visit her under the guise of mending their friendship. The next day, Amara visited Zuri, who was delighted to see her friend back. They spent the day laughing and reminiscing about old times, and for a moment, Amara almost forgot her dark intentions. But when Zuri excused herself to get refreshments, Amara quickly plucked a strand of hair from Zuri's brush and slipped it into her bag. Later that night, Amara performed the spell in secret. She chanted the incantations and poured the potion over Zuri's hair, envisioning her friend turning into a pig. As the final words left her lips, a chill ran down her spine. She knew the magic had worked. The next morning, the district was thrown into chaos. Zuri was missing, and no one could find her. Amara watched from a distance, feeling a twisted sense of satisfaction. But when she ventured into the forest, she found Zuri, now a pig, wandering aimlessly. Seeing Zuri in such a pitiful state, Amara's joy was short-lived, replaced by a pang of guilt she hadn't anticipated. Life continued, but Amara could not shake the heaviness in her heart. Zuri's family and the people of the district were devastated. They searched tirelessly, putting up posters and offering rewards, but no one could find her. Amara's once bright and cheerful demeanor faded. She was haunted by nightmares of Zuri's eyes, now those of a pig, pleading and sorrowful. As weeks turned into months, Amara found no peace. She avoided the forest, unable to face the creature she had turned her friend into. One day, overwhelmed by her guilt, Amara returned to Mama Eo, hoping the old woman could reverse the spell. Mama Eo, I made a terrible mistake. I need to undo the spell, Amara pleaded, tears streaming down her face. Mama Eo shook her head sadly. Child, magic like this cannot be undone so easily. You chose this path out of envy and hate. The only way to break the curse is through true repentance and sacrifice. Desperate, Amara asked, what must I do? The old woman looked at her solemnly. You must give up the thing you value most. Only then will the spell be lifted. Amara realized what she had to do. The thing she valued most was her pride, the very thing that had led her to betray Zuri. She had to confess to the entire district and face the consequences of her actions. Gathering all her courage, Amara called for a meeting in the district square. She stood before everyone, her hands trembling, and confessed her sins. She told them of her envy, her hatred, and how she had turned her best friend into a pig. Gasps and murmurs of disbelief filled the air. Zuri's family was heartbroken, and the district was stunned by Amara's betrayal. Zuri's parents, with tears in their eyes, approached Amara. Why, Amara? She loved you like a sister, Zuri's mother wept. Amara fell to her knees, sobbing. I'm sorry. I was blinded by jealousy. I never meant for it to go this far, she cried, her voice cracking under the weight of her guilt. With the confession, the spell was finally lifted. Zuri returned to her human form, disoriented but alive. When she saw Amara, she didn't speak a word. Instead, she hugged her friend tightly, tears of sadness and relief mingling on her cheeks. Zuri's embrace was a mix of forgiveness and sorrow, and Amara could hardly believe it. She expected anger, but instead, she was met with compassion. This act of kindness was almost more painful than any punishment she could have imagined. Zuri looked into Amara's eyes, seeing not the girl who had betrayed her, but the friend she had grown up with, the friend who had lost her way. "I forgive you, Amara," Zuri whispered softly, though her heart still ached from the betrayal. "But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. We have both lost something precious, and it will take time to rebuild what was broken." Amara nodded, humbled and grateful. She knew that forgiveness was a gift she didn't deserve, and she vowed to earn back Zuri's trust through her actions. Life in the district slowly returned to normal, but the incident left its mark on everyone, especially Amara and Zuri. They spent more time apart, each focusing on their personal growth and healing. Zuri resumed her charitable work, helping the poor and supporting local businesses, becoming a beloved figure in the district not for her wealth, but for her generosity. Amara, on the other hand, began her life of service, working tirelessly to mend her broken spirit. Amara's days were filled with hard work, fetching water, tending to crops, and assisting the elderly. Each task served as a reminder of her past mistakes, but it also became a pathway to her redemption. She no longer sought praise or recognition, she simply wanted to help others, finding peace in the simple act of giving. One afternoon, as Amara was planting seeds in the community garden, she saw Zuri approaching. There was still a cautious distance between them, but their interactions had grown warmer over time. "How are you, Amara?" Zuri asked gently, offering her a basket of fruits she had picked. Amara smiled, wiping the sweat from her brow. "I'm doing better. This work, it's been good for me. It's helped me see things differently," she admitted. Zuri nodded, her eyes reflecting the same quiet wisdom she had gained from the ordeal. "I'm glad to hear that. You know, I've missed having you by my side. But I also understand that we both needed this time apart to heal." Amara paused, feeling a wave of emotions surge through her. "Zuri, I know I can never undo what I've done, but I want you to know that I'm truly sorry. Not just for what happened, but for letting envy control me." Zuri reached out, placing a comforting hand on Amara's shoulder. "We all have our moments of weakness, Amara. What matters now is that we've learned from them. Our friendship may never be the same, but it doesn't mean we can't build something new." As the months passed, Amara continued to work diligently, slowly regaining the respect of the community. She became known not for her past mistakes but for her humility and dedication. She found joy in the simple things, helping a child learn to read, planting flowers in the town square, and sharing laughter with her neighbors. Zuri, too, found a renewed sense of purpose. She used her wealth not for luxury, but to uplift those around her. She started a scholarship fund for young girls in the district, ensuring that they would have opportunities she never dreamed of before her inheritance. Despite her own pain, Zuri never lost her spirit of kindness. The two friends, though not as inseparable as before, began to reconnect in small ways. They would sit together at the riverbank, where they once played as children, sharing stories of their days. There were still wounds to heal, but the bond that had been tested by envy and betrayal was slowly being rebuilt, brick by brick. One day, a grand celebration was held in the district to honor the work Zuri had done for the community. The villagers gathered in the square, dancing, singing, and feasting in gratitude for her generosity. Zuri stood before the crowd, her heart full of joy as she addressed her neighbors. "I am grateful to all of you," she began, her voice steady and strong. "But today, I want to recognize someone who has shown me what true change looks like. Amara, please join me." Amara hesitated, overwhelmed by the invitation. She slowly made her way to the front, feeling the eyes of the district upon her. Zuri smiled, reaching out to hold Amara's hand. "Amara has taught me that no matter how far we fall, we can always rise again. She's shown us the importance of humility, forgiveness, and the strength it takes to right our wrongs," Zuri continued, her words filled with sincerity. Amara, touched by the gesture, fought back tears. "Thank you, Zuri. And thank you to everyone here who gave me a second chance. I hope I can continue to earn your trust and make amends for my mistakes." The crowd erupted in applause, not for the girl who had once been consumed by envy, but for the woman who had found her way back to the light. The two friends hugged, a silent understanding passing between them. From that day forward, Amara and Zuri's story became a powerful lesson in the district, one that reminded everyone of the dangers of envy and the transformative power of forgiveness. The children would often sit by the river, listening to the elders tell the tale of two best friends who lost and found each other through pain and redemption. Amara continued her work, never seeking recognition, but always grateful for the chance to contribute. She became a mentor to the younger generation, teaching them the values of kindness, hard work, and humility. Zuri, too, remained dedicated to her charitable endeavors, using her resources to better the lives of those around her. Their friendship, though altered, remained a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. They laughed, they cried, and they supported each other through every challenge that came their way. While the scars of the past never fully faded, they served as a reminder of how far they had come. In the end, Amara and Zuri's tale was not just about wealth or envy, it was about the choices we make when faced with hardship and the courage it takes to seek forgiveness. They learned that true wealth was not found in gold or possessions but in the bonds we build and the love we share with one another. Their story spread far beyond the district, inspiring others to look within themselves and find the strength to change. Amara and Zuri's friendship, though imperfect, became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even the deepest wounds can heal when met with understanding, compassion, and a willingness to change. As the years went by, the district flourished, with Zuri and Amara's legacy living on in every act of kindness and every story told by the river. They had not only redeemed themselves but had also shown everyone that, no matter how dark the path, there was always a way back to the light. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories. And remember, never let envy creep in when something good happens to your friends. Celebrate with them, because there's always enough goodness to go around for everyone.